in Canberra for the final match in round 2 of the W League as Canberra United play host to Melbourne City. A home side with a chance to join the leaders back at the top of the table and start to turn McKellar Park back into the fortress it was in seasons past. Well, Grace Gill was part of the Canberra squad that lifted both their trophies in her 58 appearances in green. I'm delighted to say she joins me in commentary today. Grace, welcome. Is there a better way to spend an afternoon than here in the sunshine at McKellar Park?
Oh, I don't think so, Steph, and thank you. It's always a pleasure to be back at here, McKellar, and what a beautiful afternoon it is.
Yeah, indeed it is. Of course, 3 matches already completed this round. Wins for Melbourne, victory on Thursday, and of course the Wanderers and Sydney on the Friday. Any surprises for you in there?
Yeah, look, a couple of things for me, Steph. I think Brisbane looked a bit flat to begin with, but then really came into their own in the second half. And Melbourne victory really opportunistic and managed to come away with the 3 points. And other than that, I've probably expected to see a couple of higher scorelines than what we have seen. Just a couple of 1-0s, a penalty here or there, but not the scorelines I would have expected.
Indeed. Well, of course, the table as it stands ahead of kick-off today has those 2 Sydney teams at the top. They've had a perfect start for both. Canberra, of course, have a chance to level up today. Perth, Brisbane and Adelaide still chasing their first points. Though, of course, the Glory have a bye this weekend. They'll have to wait another week. But, Grace, the Sydney team's got off to an absolute flyer. And is that how you would have predicted it looking after round 1?
Yeah, look, I think so, Steph. And after Sydney's strength last year as well, they've maintained a lot of the same squad. So not surprised to see their performance starting off. I think as well, Newcastle have been really tough to break down, although not getting quite the results thereafter, just snaffling a point in the first round. They've been tough to break down. And Canberra United were really impressive for me in the first sort of 20-30 minutes of last weekend. So that's really promising for them.
Well, we're getting to see a lot of exciting new players too. Who's impressed you the most?
Again, Canberra United, Simone Charlie last week, she was great. She scored the brace for Canberra, plays really confidently. I think she had a defender 1 last week, but today might be a bit more of a test for her.
And you see the players make their way out. A couple of new faces in the city blue for Melbourne City. Also a couple of familiar faces for Canberra there as well. 5 of this city side have played in the green before, so perhaps a little bit of a homecoming, and be interesting to see how the crowd responds to these players who have come back. It is a beautiful afternoon here at McKellar Park with Canberra United taking on Melbourne City. Canberra, of course, come into this one off the back of a 2-0 win in the opening round, while Melbourne City are keen to get 3 points after that draw in Newcastle last weekend. Let's have a look at how the sides line up for this one, starting with the home side. And Heather Garriock has gone with the same team that won here last week against Perth. Carly Roastback lines up at left back, despite a broken nose in her last outing. Simone Charlie will no doubt be hoping to add to her opening brace in last week's stunning debut. Well, for the visitors, Rado Vidicic has made 3 changes to the side that drew with Newcastle. He's got the return of New Zealand international Rebecca Stott. She lines up on the right of a back 3. Ivy Lewick got back from Norway this week. She resumes her spot in defensive midfield alongside Yukari Kinga, while Kaya Simon returns from injury to start on the right wing. Millie Carpenter, of course, it is a homecoming. She debuted last week for Melbourne City after spending the early part of her W League career in the green of Canberra. Exciting day for her, certainly, Grace Gill.
It is, and it's always exciting for those players, the former Canberra United players, to come back to McKellar Park. And people talk about McKellar Park as being a fortress. It's a really difficult field to play at as a squad and as an individual. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Ellie steps up today in her role with Melbourne City.
Yeah, she's one of a few. Heather Garriock been coach here for a number of seasons now. In fact, Heather's 26th game in charge today, and she's hoping for great things this season. She's a fierce competitor. She would have been disappointed with last season's results.
Yeah, I think she was bitterly disappointed with how Canberra United finished up last season. But if last week's anything to go by, they're looking strong going into this season, and hoping for a better outcome toward the end of the season.
Yeah, Rado Vidicic has had a few challenges with his side, a lot of them international, so of course they've been a little bit exhausted. This is his 15th game in charge, and he's only played here at McKellar Park once before, and he didn't come away with a win on that occasion, so he'll be hoping to go a little better this time. We've got Georgia Girardello in charge of this one, local ACT referee, her assistants Nia Southwell and Delphina Demoski, and our fourth official today is Rebecca Mackey. And we get underway. Canberra running right to left on the screen, and the first effort from Kaylee Kurtz is to put the ball over the sideline and hand possession to Melbourne City. Interesting, Melbourne have gone with this changed formation. Grace, do you think that's going to help them with the speed of Catley and Carpenter flying down the flanks?
Yeah, I think it really will, Steph. They've moved to a 3 at the back, and that always suggests that a team's looking for a more attacking style of play, and no doubt they'll be looking to expose Canberra's 3 at the back on the other end of things.
Certainly Rosbacken with the throw, as I mentioned in the lineups, coming back from a broken nose last week. She's a tough cookie.
Yeah, I'm impressed by Carly to see her step back into the fray this week.
Almost a bit of a worry there for Canberra United, but Jessie Rashard up to the challenge. Can only imagine that they're going to be pressing very high, this City side.
Yeah, I think with Canberra's three at the back, as mentioned, they'll be looking to put some pressure. And when you see Ellie Carpenter there, Steph Catley on the other side, the sort of pace that they've got and the experience as well, the Matildas, that's looking pretty dangerous for Melbourne City.
Catley with a throw on the far side. Mijatovic picks up. Van Egmond skips over. Long cross looking for Kaya Simon. Sham Karmas up to the challenge. Nice to see Kaya back on the park too. First game back from injury.
Really good to see Kaya back on the park. We know she's struggled with a bit of injury. And again, a good early start for Melbourne City, but a strong grab for Sham there.
Well, initially looking dangerous there for Canberra. Once again, a soft turnover. And Simon getting close attention. It's beautiful run from Camilla. Unfortunately, it comes undone at the feet of Rebecca Stott, New Zealand international, who's returned to the W League once more. Kinga to Ivy Lewick. A lovely ball just beyond Ellie Carpenter, as it turns out. Carpenter, quick turn and go. Rosbacken up to the challenge from her fellow Matilda. Big year it's been for Carly Rosbacken, that inclusion, late inclusion really, for the injury that occurred to Laura Alloway.
It's been a massive year for Carly. And
dangerous play there from Canberra. Have handed the ball back. Ivy Lewick puts it back for Kinga. Kinga finds Catley, feeds it through to Mijatovic. Decent defending there from Canberra. That was a foul, and they have a free kick in what is quite a dangerous position.
Yeah, it's an incredibly dangerous position to concede on the top of the box there. Just perhaps a little bit too much body in there from Laura Hughes, trying to get stuck in and win the ball back, but just clipped. You can see there Mijatovic on the back of the ankle.
Serbian international included in the City side this season. Quite some CV, which we might look at a little later in the game as the discussion over who's going to take this. Here's your money on Emily Van Egmond.
I'd have Emily Van Egmond taking this and curling it into the top right-hand corner.
Van Egmond straight into the wall as it turns out. Kinga on the left, over the top, looking for a cross in. It's just palmed away by Sham Karmas, who's a little bit irate at the lack of cover from her back line.
But that's a fantastic save there from Sham Karmas. A really good reflex save down to her right, and she's just managed to push it out for a corner.
Van Egmond takes it short. Got Catley, puts it back in. Finds the head of Rebecca Stott. Danger averted.
But you can see Sham there just yelling at her defender, saying that that's got to be touch tied, and that's twice in a row now there. She's had to deal with a fair bit of pressure. So some early comms from Sham Karmas, getting a message heard loud and clear.
Yeah, great reflexes. Two Karmases on the field for Canberra this season. Don't be confused. We've got them bookending Lena, of course, who spent so long in the blue of Sydney FC and also a stint with the Wanderers. As did Sham. They finally ended up back at the same club.
They did. They find each other. And Lena had a really good stint last week for Canberra. She is moving really well. She's looking quite mobile, and I think she'll be a good addition to the squad.
Now Mijatovic, cut short by Rashard. I can tell you on the near side, these stands are filling up beautifully, as they often do at McKellar Park. The locals here love supporting this team. Van Egmond again for City, puts it right into the mix, headed away once more by the Canberra defence. Barnes provides good cover.
And I think that was Carly Rossbacken getting that on the head, but you wonder with a broken nose how that's feeling for her, but I can't imagine it tickles.
I was wondering how wary it would make her of going into challenges. Rossbacken, the co-captain today with Nicola Orgel. Mijatovic again, she's finding a lot of joy down that left side. Easy work for Karmas. That time it's careless from Canberra. No love lost there between Carpenter and Camilla. Brazilian showing a bit of passion there.
She sure is, and she did last week too, and I don't mind that though, with a bit of body there, Ellie Carpenter and Camilla. It's a fair challenge, it's physical, but there's no malice in that.
Absolutely. Hasn't Ellie Carpenter matured as a player? Do you remember her coming on as just that young teenager here at Canberra? Were you still playing then?
That was years ago, Steph. Surely not. But what we forget is that she's still a teenager. So she's done really, really well. She's maturing as a player. We've seen over the last 12 months, her game's really developing.
Yeah, 19 years old, Ellie Carpenter. We saw Simone Charlie, which was probably the first time we've mentioned her this game, over on the far wing for Canberra.
She had an impressive start, as we mentioned, for last weekend. A brace and a really fantastic finish on her left boot.
Yeah, first Canberra player to score a brace on debut. He was well over the top. Should be disappointed with that delivery. Canberra, it feels, have been a little bit wasteful.
His first few nervous minutes of a game, just settling in and seeing who's going to take control of possession, and we'll probably see now that teams will start to try and hit feed and knock it around a little bit more and build up.
Well, here we go, Charlie flying away. He finds Katie Stengel. Turns it back to the defence. And can see a shake of the head from Garriock. Yeah, not the sort of attacking play she'd be encouraging with the lineup that she has. Checker. Now Stott. Back inside for Simon. Stott again. Looking for options. Neat 1-2 with Van Egmond. Stott looks for Mijatovic, but the flag has gone up. Simply taking a little bit of time for both teams to settle.
Promising signs there from Melbourne City, and a really, really positive Maisie run there from Rebecca Stott, and I'm sure the side will be welcoming her back into the squad this week. She's a really impressive, consistent player.
They've been a busy lot, this Melbourne City squad, haven't they? I was speaking to Rado Vidicic before the game, and he said that the toll on them, with both fatigue and physically, has just been really quite difficult and challenging for them to deal with. Collision there with Karmas and Lewick. All smiles, those two know each other really well.
A little heavy there from Lena Karmas, just coming down into Ivy Lewick. And again, Ivy is another one that they've welcomed back into the side this week. And she had a great game a couple of weeks ago against Chile with the Matildas. And I think she's really in the form of her life at the moment. At 34 years old, she's very impressive and moving very well. Yeah,
34 years young. I had a chat to her when she arrived. She's literally just got back from Norway with her side, Alvadsnes. And great to have her back in the W League. Rosebacken now for Canberra. Now starting to get excited to see a attacking foray. And Stott gets behind Simone Charlie, and the throw is awarded to Canberra.
That's the type of attacking play I think we're going to see from Canberra and from Melbourne City today. With 3 at the back, they're just going to be sending those numbers forward and looking to really utilise those wide areas.
Rosebacken rebounds off Karmas. Now Charlie. Close attention from Lewick. Rosebacken again, now Katie Stengel. Stengel loops up over the top, hoping to find Karmas. Instead found the head of Emma Checker. Camilla down, no whistle. Algor switches. Now Rashat. Hughes trying to evade the 3 blue shirts that envelop her, unsuccessful. And Lewick once more. Simon out to Stott. Camilla's been involved in a bit of everything, hasn't she?
She has, in a good positioning there just to block off the pass to Melbourne City's centre midfield.
Few cheers from the crowd telling their ex-defender to get back on the other side of the halfway line.
It won't be the last we hear from this crowd either.
Very popular Canberra junior, Ellie Carpenter. Junior. Are people still juniors when they're 19?
We'll go with it.
Stott looking for the Kaya Simon option once again. Lands beautifully. A little bit short for the run of Van Egmond. Good idea though.
It wasn't really pleasing, as we said, to see Kaya back in and getting another start with Melbourne City. She's a quality player with such a breadth of experience. So hopefully she can carry it through this game.
An agricultural challenge there, I think, from Stengel. Is that Steph Catley?
Steph Catley, yeah. I think she might be clutching at her hand. Over NWSL season with Seattle, she had a bit of problems with one of her hands, and it looked like a challenge might have just caught her.
She's gingerly making her way to her feet. Melbourne City captain, congratulations, her 50th appearance today for the City side. Been captain for quite a number of them, I think about 42 of those appearances, and of course was captain at Melbourne Victory before that.
Again, another one of those players who just has such experience under her belt. And
oh, look at that beautifully timed run, that ball beyond her, but you could see her looking for that at every opportunity, and that's why he's playing with these 2 wing-backs.
That's right, and a good partnership there in Lou Barnes. Seattle Reign plays in the NWSL, so really familiar with each other, and as well with Lydia Williams back there. It's a really impressive spine of Melbourne City players.
Bit of miscommunication there between the Canberra players down on the left-hand side of the field. Turnover again. I think Heather Garriock's going to have a couple of things to talk about as and when she brings them in for the break. Now Kinga for City. Van Egmond. Lewick. Stott has space. Just not a striker on the other end of it.
Not a bad option there for Stott as well. I thought for a moment she was going to unleash and have a go at goal herself, which wouldn't be a bad option. We have seen her hit them from range and successfully so before. But as you mentioned, no one on the end of that dink into the box.
Rebecca Stott, of course, would have been on that trip to China with New Zealand recently. A lot of frequent flyer miles in between all these ladies on the park today.
Particularly the Melbourne City girls. I think together their frequent flyer points would be impressive.
Absolutely. Neat work from Emma Checker. Retrieves possession for Melbourne City. Kinga out to Stott, back to Checker. finds Simon. That time, Canberra alert and waiting. Oh, neat footwork from Camilla. Dancing down this near sideline. Very appreciative crowd chiming in.
They didn't mind that at all, but that was an impressive piece of defending as well from Nicola Orgel back there. Didn't allow Kaya Simon to turn with the ball and forced it back, and now Canberra United have it in their attacking half.
Oh, now Van Egmond. Blue shirts surge forward again. Stott gets it around Stengel. Lewick. Van Egmond. Now Carpenter. City forced to go back and set up again. It's better from Canberra.
It is, and while we talk about them setting up in a really attacking structure, you can see they do a great defensive job as well of getting back into their roles and their positions defensively, and that's going to be hard to break down for Melbourne City today.
A bit of a hit and hope there. Just over a quarter of an hour played here at McKellar Park. If you've just joined in, welcome to our coverage here from Canberra. Canberra and Melbourne City going head-to-head in this last match of round 2 of the W League. Still 0-0. Can't say that either keeper has been really challenged, but Sham has had to make one quite fabulous reactionary save.
Sham's probably had a little bit more of the action than Lydia Williams up at the other end, but like you said, a good reactionary save and another good pluck out of the air is a good confident start for Sham Karmas today.
Now Camilla. Katie Stengel, formerly of the Newcastle Jets. The American wearing the green of Canberra United. Camilla. Roastbacken. Brazilian looking to switch sides. Onto the head of Steph Catley, who finds Mijatovic waiting further up the park. Kinga, another one that used to play in green.
And a world-class player at that. She's just so composed and so silky on the ball, and she's an absolute asset to any team that she joins.
Yeah, 35 years old now, Yukari Kinga, and she looks just as sprightly as ever. She's so clever on the ball too.
She is. I think you mean 35 years young, Steph.
Yeah, no comment. In fact, a lot of these ladies playing now are proving age is just a number, and they're just getting better and better as they gain more experience. Catley looking to cross in now. Rushart in the way. Another surge forward for City, headed away. Now Stengel picks up, but Stott ever alert. I think she might have been expecting a whistle there. Catley on the far side. This time it's turned over by Melbourne City, and they hand the throw over to Canberra United. Charlie looking to get play underway quickly. Her teammates possibly not quite ready. Everyone a little bit flat-footed right now. Now Charlie, a neat run, was hoping for the attention of the referee. Wasn't coming. Now it's Lewick for City. Neatly stopped by Carpenter, and Camilla finally ends that play. City quick to take the throw. Now Lewick again. This time Girardello does blow the whistle. Couple of calming words for the Brazilian import.
We've seen a couple of pretty strong challenges from her now, and Girardello's let a couple of them go, but you get a sense of what she's going to call, and maybe that was her point to say, we just need to settle that one down a little bit and not go into those challenges quite so recklessly.
time Catley from the right will look to swing it in with the left peg. Bit too much energy on that one.
Yeah, a bit of a wasted opportunity there for Melbourne City. They've got a couple of really strong headers of the ball, so off a free kick opportunity like that, you'd like to see them get it into a dangerous area and at least get a half chance on frame.
Sham Karmas will start things off on this gorgeous afternoon here. And through the legs of Georgia Ghirardello. Race back and looking for help. It does arrive in the form of Nicola Orgel. Carpenter was ready. Now she makes one of those speedy runs. Let's come back. It's Kaya Simon doing battle with Camilla. Oh, once again, the crowd getting involved in the action here. Oh, they've got a lot riding on this one. We mentioned that Ellie Carpenter was formerly of Canberra. Sorry, as I did so, I said junior, but I meant with the younger players because she started when she was just so young, 16 or so here at Canberra United, originally from Cooma. But she's certainly not the only one. Yukari Kinga, Emma Checker, Emily Van Egmond, Lydia Williams, they've all been in green at some point. Checker. Kaya Simon. Kinga. To feed it through, finds Simon. Van Egmond can't control heavy first touch. It gives away a foul as Olivia Price has a stretch out.
And some decent build up there from Melbourne City. You can see they're just trying to find players between the lines, and Kaya Simon does a really good job of checking off her defensive line and receiving the ball with her back facing and just bouncing her players in.
Well, another hefty challenge, and now it's Carpenter running away. She's got Simon on her right. Releases. Oh, beautiful cross in. Will it land this time for Melbourne City? Oh, hands on heads as they walk away from the goal. Well, that was a chance gone begging. Sham Karmas was down on the right-hand side.
And we've seen Ellie Carpenter do this type of thing time and time again, where she's just able to drive through the middle of the park, and she's so effective at drawing a player in and creating space for her wide players, which is what she's provided Kaya Simon with there. And you really think they're going to get something on frame at the end of this passage of play, and like you say, goes begging.
A bit of to and fro here, coming off many and varied heads. Karma's chasing it down to put a little bit of pressure on Williams. Catley and acres of space down the left. Now closed down by Rashart. Can't quite control. Catley far too wily. Good recovery by Jessie Rashart.
Yeah, Jessie's a real athlete. She, I believe she was a former 400-metre runner sort of back in the day, but it shows in the way that she plays because she can really turn the motors on.
Well, that time it is Kinga that is penalised. Just speaking of Rashart, as Kinga makes her way back down the field. Just take another look at that one first.
Yeah, and that's a right call there. That's a yellow card any day of the week. A little bit reckless coming in there on Laura Hughes, and that one will hurt tomorrow for her.
A huge ball over the top, and unfortunately no green shirts lying in wait. Race back and chasing. Good recovery from Lewick. Carpenter again, now Stengel. And Stott finally finishes that particular foray off. Now Roseback and looping up. Oh, looked like it was just going to go beyond the fingertips of Lydia Williams.
Probably the first time Lydia Williams has been tested today, and those ones are tricky as well, looking into the sun and just sort of looping up over the top of her head. So a good one for her to get a solid grab on.
Van Egmond now for Melbourne City. Mijatovic out to Catley on the far side. Heads up Melbourne City, always looking for that option further forward. This time it was Kaya, and off balance Van Egmond. Unable to make that one count. Probably had some other options, but I think she was already falling.
We saw the strike of hers last week as well, an impressive finish, so unsurprising for her to have a go there.
Hey, if you've got the confidence. Of course, she had a lovely assist from Claire Emsley, the Scottish forward that's joined the City team this year. Now, unfortunately, she's one that is suffering from a bit of fatigue and hasn't made the trip from Melbourne this week, which will have disappointed those here hoping to see her, because she's going to be another one that creates a lot of excitement in the league this year.
I think she will.
Fantastic challenges between Lena Karmas and Ellie Carpenter, who puts it forward for Kaya Simon. Real chance here for City. Crossed in by Simon, headed away. Again, wanting to fall at the feet of Ivy Lewick. Lewick still going. Now, fantastic contest developing here. Now Stott. Checker. And Ghirardello pretty happy to let this game flow.
And I don't mind that as well from a referee there, to sort of play advantage where possible and to not halt the momentum of the game. And it's getting pretty physical down the end there. Some good attacking play from City.
Well, again, Melbourne City dangerously closer to goal before being cut off by Camilla. Beautiful footwork from Camilla, showing her Brazilian heritage. And nice again. Ellie Carpenter. Lovely here at McKellar Park. They have the crowd literally on top of them.
And you can hear it too. You can hear all about it.
Charlie will be hoping to see her score again. Canberra still trying to break through what has so far been a fairly impenetrable sky blue wall. Or city blue, should I say. Stengel's found a way through, finds Camilla. Out to Rosebacken in some space on the near side. Crossed in by Carly Rosebacken, looking for Charlie, and booted away by Yukari Kinga. Oh, it's Canberra having to track back. Kinga with her endless energy. Lewick. What's your assessment short of the half-hour mark? I think the back three is working well.
I think the back three is working well, probably more so for City at this point. They've had a few more options getting forward, and they've been able to utilise that space out on the width a couple of times now.
Now Stott does go wide. Carpenter to Rebecca Stott. Now Kinga. Ball inside. Mijatovic to Simon. Ping-pongs around. Oh, and that's a nice ball in for Kai Simon, who heads it down, but without any real force or intent. Pretty accurate cross in, though.
Yeah, that's an impressive ball in there by Steph Catley, and a similar ball that we saw early in the game. This time, Kai Simon was able to get a little piece on it, but with a bit of a half opportunity for City.
Carpenter looking for options. One of the players from the Portland Thorns. Among her other clubs, at 19 you don't normally name that many, but of course we haven't mentioned the Wanderers either, of which she started everything off. Now you wouldn't believe that she's a staple in the Matilda side as well.
Exactly right. She's an impressive staple at that.
Oh, look at that ball for Simone Charlie. Trying to get around Steph Catley. She's got Karmas streaming down the middle. Finds Karmas. Karmas wraps a right boot around it. Not enough to find Stengel. And easy for Lydia Williams to collect.
That's a good ball through for Simone Charlie, but in the box there, they said three Canberra shirts there and about 5 Melbourne City defenders. So players really need to stream through to get on the end of that, or just hold it up and wait for the Canberra United players to join them.
Yeah, I wonder if the speed and transition will be something Heather Garriock's addressing in the break.
And it is warm out there as well, so you can't look for the counter-attack every time or look to bomb forward every time. There's definitely a point in the game to settle the ball and pick your moments to go forward.
As we've ticked over the half-hour mark, still scoreless here. Now Simon. Lewick. Van Egmond, plenty of green shirts back in defence now. Falls to Charlie. Back to Rashard. They won't be wanting to fiddle around with it too much down near the top of that area. Roastback, now Camilla.
Yeah, just a couple of lazy giveaways of possession there, sort of trying to push it forward a bit too quick and thread the needle.
Another call to suggest that perhaps Melbourne City was gaining a few yards down this sideline.
Yeah, like I said, it won't be the last we hear from this Canberra crowd.
City, of course, didn't win the last time they played Canberra at McKellar Park. In fact, the sides have only met at this particular ground once before, and it was Canberra that had one of their 2 victories on that occasion. And Kinga winds up, finds Mijatovic. Kai Simon twisting and turning. Oh, lovely work from Simon, eventually booted away by the Canberra defence. Checker there, caught on the foot. And Checker stays down as play continues. Roastback and centre retrieve. We'll just call the play back. Emma Checker's still on the ground.
It's really troubling as well when you see someone like Emma Checker take a while to get to her feet.
Great signing for Melbourne City. Emma Checker was the Adelaide captain last season. Added a real solidity to the back line as the players take a quick opportunity to get some water on board.
Looks like she might have just caught that boot on either the front of her shin or her ankle. It's hard to tell at this point in time, but she's not the type of player to muck around. She'll normally be back on her feet quite quickly, so suggests that she's hurting a fair bit.
Well, under 15 minutes to go until the half-time break, when they can certainly get out of the sunshine at least. What do you reckon the quick words are for the last 15 minutes?
Look, I think Heather Garriock's going to be telling them to settle it down and not trying to push those opportunities when they're not on. And you can see they're getting a drink. It is warm out there, and they need to be really mindful with possession at this point in the game and take a bit of control with it, take back some ascendancy, and control going into half-time is going to be really important for either side here to come out into the second half ahead.
Certainly an interesting stat on the opening goal for this particular match. The team to score the first goal has won all 7 games. So I don't know if that adds anything for either side. They probably don't even know that.
They might not know it yet.
Well, in those 7 games, Canberra's only come out victorious twice. So they'll certainly fancy the chances this time. I really like this Canberra setup. They're perhaps not on paper don't look as strong as some of the other teams, but I think that they will gel really well over the season. and there's a solidity about them. I mean, we spoke about Jessie Rashart before, a name that might not be familiar in W League circles. She's 32 years old, making her debut in the W League at Belconnen local, so this is actually her home ground at NPL level, and was Player of the Year and got asked for a trial at Canberra, and that's something Canberra does really well, is bring through locals.
They do, and Jessie Rashart's been a perfect example of that. She's a really athletic player. She's had a fantastic couple of seasons with Belconnen United in the NPLW in Canberra, and I think this is a really deserved opportunity for her.
Yeah, she'll be relishing it, and would love a win in front of the home crowd, as they did last week, 2-0 over Perth Glory. Well, Barnes up to Mijatovic, and fairly wasteful.
Yeah, right idea there by Mijatovic, but not quite the right execution, and perhaps not enough space really to play that ball in between the line at that point in the field. You really need to be looking to hit feet, and Steph Catley on her left boot is never a bad option.
Well, round 2 of the W League almost complete. It will be complete after this one, as we see Lena Karmas run away with the ball. Finds Simone Charlie down the right flank. Charlie with Catley paying close attention. Still with Charlie. Well, neat work, and it was a good attempt there, but again, far too many City shirts at the ready. Something they do so very well, Melbourne City, and have done for years. They'll be stinging from not having made the final series last season, an anomaly certainly for them in their short history, after winning 3 titles in a row, and I'm sure Rado Vidicic has every intention of taking them back to trophy status.
Yeah, very much so, and with the paper that the team they have on the paper, is really impressive, and it's the kind of side that you well and truly expect to see in the final series, and I think it'll be very surprising if this team isn't in that final 4 come the end of this season.
Carpenter taking her time looking for options, perhaps tribute to the defence of this Canberra side.
I think she had a little laugh at that one too. She enjoyed that.
Price goes back to Kurtz. Now Olivia Price again. Nice to Lena Karmas. First touch a bit too heavy for Stengel. Now City with another chance to set up Mijatovic. Back to Kinga. Lewick. Barnes. Kinga, Lewick. Plenty of touches and no real progress forward. Here we go now, though, at feet of Rebecca Stott. Stott charging forward. Carpenter on the right flank. Managed to thread it through to Kai Simon. Back to Stott, who looks over the top. Still there. Simon swings a leg. Simone Charlie says that's enough.
That's something we see City do really well, is hit that high player, bounce off to a player underneath him at feet, and then look for the next forward pass. And they've been doing it quite effectively this half anyway, and I think they're going to get a bit of joy out of that.
Well, now Kinga, top to Kai Simon, controls well, gets it away to Carpenter. Carpenter, through, unfortunately can't continue. It's Price, comes away with it. Oh, that's a lovely ball down the left flank to Lena Karmas. Again, that wonderful contest between Karmas and Checker.
Well, anyone who knows Lena Karmas knows she's a passionate player and doesn't mind getting stuck into a challenge, and we see just there getting a bit of a tangle with Emma Checker.
Well, chance here for Canberra to push forward as we edge closer to the half-time break. Camilla. Perhaps just a little bit too anxious to move the ball up the park, Canberra. Soft turnovers and just requiring them to do a whole lot of running on a hot day in transition.
That's the last thing you want to be doing. They need to get numbers around the ball and numbers in transition, and they're finding themselves a little bit isolated in their top third and handing over loose possession, which is, like you say, causing them to run on a very warm day.
You'd remember these summers in Canberra, wouldn't you, Grace? It's only going to get a whole lot warmer as the season wears on.
Quite a balmy day today, Steph.
Saw some of the Melbourne players sitting out in the sun saying, this is lovely.
Very pleasant.
So 5 minutes or so with whatever Girardello decides to add on for this first half. It'd certainly be a huge fillip to either side to be able to go in a goal to the good.
Yeah, Ellie Carpenter really just wanting the ball at her feet there, rolled into space. She can create things on the ball at that sort of standing start, and you can see after that ball she just motioned to Rebecca Stott just to settle, just ball to feet, a nice and easy roll in and keep things under control.
Thomas again into quite a congested group of players. Drops for Emily Van Egmond. Now Simon. Well beyond the feet, head or anything else of Ellie Carpenter on that occasion.
It's just that final ball for Melbourne City at the moment. I think they're dominating possession and managing to hit feet in the middle third of the park and at the back, but just that final pass isn't quite the right execution, and I'm sure that's something they'll address at half-time.
They really need to become a little bit more clinical, perhaps. What do you think? Maybe taking time to settle into this season, or is it just the tired bodies?
I think there's always a bit of the settling into the season, but
well, it's lovely from Catley to Mijatovic. Lovely work here from Melbourne City. Lewick crossed in, and oh, what are we saying about that clinical final pass? Now Stengel starts off the attack for Canberra. Turned over once more. Seems such a shame to go all that work and just turn it over.
Yeah, that's right, and it's tiring, especially under these sort of warm conditions, so they have to be clinical and have to be a bit more mindful about the simple things. We speak about the simple things a lot, but it's really important on a day like today and on a game like today where both sides are having difficulties breaking each other down.
And you mentioned the low score lines that we've had, albeit in 1.5 rounds of the league thus far. But Melbourne City, I'm sure everyone would have expected to collect the 3 points in Newcastle. And it's credit to the Jets women, of course, that they managed to hold them to a draw and perhaps on one occasion could have even taken the lead. However, this City side it's going to have to find the way for those combinations to click if they're not going to have a disaster like last season.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and I think you're right in saying that everyone did expect them to take the 3 points from Newcastle, and a good defensive effort from the Newcastle girls.
Yeah, well taught by Craig Deans. He's had a lot of that squad at his control for some time. Neat work from Kaylee Kurtz. Hitting the ball down, keeping possession for Canberra.
And Kaylee Kurtz is one who's impressed me today and last week as well. She's been a solid addition to this Canberra United squad, and she brings a lot of strength and from the NWSL with North Carolina, a championship winning side. She's around good players, and I think she'll lift the side and she'll lift some of these young girls in Canberra. And we've seen her do that today and last week as well.
Yeah, certainly a good two-footed player, and she's someone that can calm this side down. The experience of those championships with the courage. She's got a few teammates out here with her, but most of them ended up at Western Sydney Wanderers.
They sure did.
Well, now Kaya Simon. Carpenter charging through inside. And neat work from Camilla and Kurtz. Push there from Kaya. Frustrated with the attention she's receiving from the Brazilian. Simon again, nice footwork. Turns to evade Stengel. Stott. Now Lewick. Barnes on the far side. Mijatovic. It's the outstretched foot of Yukari Kinga. Lewick. Melbourne City just searching for some way to penetrate through this defence. Didn't find it on that occasion. Whistle goes up, Canberra ball. And there will be 3 minutes of time added on.
And again, just that opportunity where they're keeping really good possession, Melbourne City keeping really good possession in the sort of top third, but that final pass or that final execution to get a shot on goal hasn't been met with much success.
I'll be relieved to get into the sheds, get some fluid on board. Traditionally in this one, it has been Melbourne City that has dominated the first half. And that tail turns on its head in the second half, and it's Canberra that's come out the stronger. So let's see what happens today, because certainly you'd say that City have had the upper hand. Could Canberra be about to change all that? Simone Charlie now on the left. Charlie trying to get around Carpenter. Nice work from Ellie Carpenter, to the dismay of the home crowd. Now Lewick for City. Perhaps a chance for one more foray into enemy territory. Emily Van Egmond looking to speed things up. Finds the chest of Kaya Simon, and no one there to pick up the scraps.
Just Simone Charlie there, a bit slow, coming back into a onside position, and finds herself offside from a big looping clearance from Kaylee Kurtz. Otherwise a bit of a half opportunity perhaps on a quick counter-attack for Canberra United.
They'd take any opportunity. Van Egmond, the only scorer this season for Melbourne City so far. Nice finish up in Newcastle to get the draw, so they come away with a point. Canberra, of course, with a perfect start, a 2-0 win here last week, which they'll be hoping to emulate within the next 45 minutes. Oh, perhaps a final opportunity for Melbourne City. Nope, it's going to be a goal kick for Canberra, and probably pretty close to the break, I would have thought.
That was a great little flick on there from Kaya Simon for Ellie Carpenter streaming on through, but really good defensive effort there by Kylie Rossback, and to get her body just across Ellie Carpenter enough and see that out for a goal kick.
Yeah, this back four for Canberra, Brashart, Kurtz, Orgel and Roastbacken, have really been admirable this first half, denying City the opportunity despite, well, you'd have to say probably maybe 80% of the runs into the box. And Kinga and Catley combine to build up for another attacking attempt, but Girardello says that she has seen enough, and it's been at times a feisty first half. And we've had a good amount of entertainment for the home crowd. Not too many chances down on the Canberra end. Lydia Williams not forced to work too hard, but a couple of fantastic saves from Sham Karmas means that at the break at McKellar Park, it is Canberra United 0, Melbourne City 0. And stay with us, we're off to a short break, and we'll be back to wrap up all the first half action here in Canberra.
Our Mini Roos Kickoff is a perfect introductory program to football for girls and boys aged 4 and 9 years old. Each session is 45 minutes of games and activities to help your kids improve their confidence and boost their social skills. It's a fun and safe environment for your future Westfield W League stars. Find a program near you by heading to www.miniroos.com.au. Westfield are proud supporters of women's football and the official partner of the Westfield W League. Westfield unites local football communities by connecting fans to the game. She's got incredible skills, she's got impressive plays, she's got game. Are you ready for it? As a proud partner of the Westfield W League, they are. Even if they hear it playing overseas, they all start right here on the Westfield W League. Make sure you catch them in action this season. Search We're Here for Me to get your tickets now. Get closer than ever to the action with the Live Football Live app, the official home of football. The Hyundai A-League, Westfield W League, Caltech Socceroos, Westfield Matildas and the FFA Cup are all live here. Stay up to date with all the latest news from the Australian football in one place. Download the My Football Live app now in the App Store or Google Play.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This season, our University of Canberra race has been replaced with a game of Rob the Nest. So 4 teams down here. I'm going to introduce them, and I need you to give them a big round of applause while they head out to their hoop. All right, so our blue team, our friends Penny and Lawson. Our yellow team of friends, also Mia and Bonnie.
Well, half-time here in Canberra on a sunny day at McKellar Park. Bit of work to do for Sham Karmas in that first 45. The City peppered certainly the area, if not the goal, with chances. There'll be a lot for the two coaches to discuss at the break as everyone relaxes here, gets some fluids on board because it is seriously warm. But the local crowd, Greyskill, certainly enjoying their time here immensely. It's been entertaining, if not, I feel, a bit scrappy in that first half.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Steph. I think it has been entertaining. I think both teams are struggling to settle down and take ascendancy of the game. I think Melbourne probably do have the upper hand from that first 45 minutes, and Canberra just struggling to create any real chances up top at the other end of things.
Most of the chances did fall City's way. We have a look at one of these first ones here, and the deliveries have been fine. It's just that finish doesn't quite make it, and that was, you've got to say, a good save from Sham Karmas, but a real chance for City there.
Yeah, that was a really quality reflex save from Sham Karmas there, and nice little header on goal from Pia Simon, getting herself into the action there, but good way to step up for Sham.
Sure is, and again, they've been so quick in transition. Ellie Carpenter doing a heap of work down this right flank.
she does that so well as well. We talked about her driving into the middle of the park, and that's what she loves to do, running with the ball at her feet and just opening up space for her players out wide to then look for an option inside, and it's really effective. I think they'll be disappointed with this chance here not to get a shot on goal, and I think they should be getting something on target here. It's a pretty clear-cut chance in my eyes.
Yeah, Mijatovic will have been wishing that she did a little bit better with that one. Again, they're not completely in control of that one, Kaya, but certainly it's, you know, they've looked near enough, but just haven't been able to finish it off.
That's right, and again with this opportunity here, it's a nice little dink into the box from Rebecca Stott, but just failing to get that last shot on goal. And I'm sure if we had a look at some of the shots on frame, there wouldn't be a great deal from Melbourne City, despite them really dominating possession and dominating chances.
Yeah, I feel that Rado Vidicic will be wanting more from the players of the calibre that he's got there. Lydia Williams, well, that was one of the only times she was really forced into action. Not too much going on for Canberra, but they have looked threatening. Simone Charlie showing her pace. And her relationship with Lena Karmas, well, it's that looks to be developing, that combination. That's only going to get better over time, correct?
Well, that's exactly right. They're sort of early on in the season, but we do speak about the season being such a short one that you can't take too long to settle into these sort of on-field relationships and getting the most out of each other. And Lena's been effective today, but for a player like Lena, she loves the ball to her feet, and on a few occasions they're putting her into space, which isn't really her strength. They need to be finding Lena's feet and having her bounce in other Canberra United players.
Yeah, certainly do. Lena Karmas, of course, so much experience, 107th appearance today in the W League, and got kids like this looking up to players like her. The Canberra locals love having a match here at McKellar Park, and they're particularly enjoying watching Ellie Carpenter, I've got to say. Once a Wanderer, then a Canberra United player for a couple of years. She was very popular here, and it was when she was at Canberra United she broke through into the national team, where she's now a staple in that back line. And hasn't she been solid today?
She has been really solid today, and she was solid for Canberra. Canberra United fans obviously sad to lose her this year to Melbourne City, but I think she's been really effective today out on the wing. She's provided a few options looking forward, and we've seen time and time again she just has this ability to run not only on her attacking duties but get back defensively, and we did see her in the first half a couple of times putting in a great deal of effort to get back, do her defensive duties and get into the right position.
Yeah, still so young, Ellie Carpenter, 19 years old now with Portland Thorns. In fact, her first goal in the W League was scored against Adelaide at McKellar Park in 2017-2018, so she'll have fond memories of playing here. Up against her today, someone else that isn't afraid of a physical challenge, Grace, is Camila Pereira, the Brazilian forward. She's just been extraordinary.
She has been great. You've mentioned it right there. She is a very physical player. She doesn't mind getting stuck in. She plays with a great deal of passion, and she's had a bit of flair about her today. You get the sense when she's on the ball that something's going to happen. I'm not quite sure what yet, but she's looked promising. She's had some really good touches, and does not mind a physical challenge at all.
Yeah, Brazilian senior international. Plays with Orlando Pride in the US, and a wonderful addition to Heather Garriock's side. Well, we probably aren't too far away from the second half. What are you expecting or even hoping perhaps to see in this next 45?
Well, a couple of goals to begin with to get things moving. I think Melbourne City, we've mentioned, they've had the majority of possession, but they're really just rushing that final pass through on goal, struggling to break Canberra down. And we saw last week Melbourne City were also struggling to break Newcastle down, and that's something that they're really going to have to address. They've got to be able to capitalise on the result, on the opportunities they do have to get the results. So I think that would be something that they spoke about at half time. And for Canberra, I think as that half wore on, they set up a bit more defensively. Despite having the 3-5-2 throughout their formation, they started to sit back in a little bit more and absorb some pressure, but what that meant is that they didn't have many outlets going forward. So again, something that Heather might address at half time is where are our options up front, how can we hold it up when we're outnumbered, and again, not giving away really cheap possession.
Well, the good news is we're going to find out straight from the horse's mouth at the beginning of the second half. We'll be talking to Heather Garriock. That's all coming up. Don't go away. Second half action here at McKellar Park right after the break.
is ranked among the top 100 young universities in the world and consistently delivers 89% graduate employment and above average graduate starting salaries. ActuAGL. ActuAGL is AC's leading electricity and gas provider. For more than 100 years, ActuAGL has supplied safe, reliable and sustainable energy solutions to Canberra and surrounding New South Wales region. Drake International, contributing to global leaders, flexible and permanent staffing, naturally evolving to offer a dynamic suite of talent.
Hello to Heather. Can you hear me, H?
I can hear you.
Mate. I'm going to start with a question to you and then Grace will ask one.
Yeah, sure, no worries.
And then we'll just keep chatting for about 35 minutes.
Where am I
okay?
looking?
Is H on camera? You can watch the game.
Pretend to watch the game.
Pretend. No. It'll actually be on. The game will be on.
Oh, the game will be on. Oh,
Yep.
so
you are actually watching it, but you're talking to us.
Well, it's live.
Oh, okay, when they kick off,
Yeah, just at the very start.
just at the very start. Move it with the questions.
And
First
then-
5 minutes is crucial. Nico, strong, keep going. Be confident.
They'll give you a yell at, I don't know, 80 something minutes. I'm so annoyed with I didn't know this was a game, so I'm like, what? So I'll run it first. Well, the second half here at McKellar Park, almost ready to get underway. Round 2 of the W League. It is Canberra United hosting Melbourne City. The score 0-0 at the break, and I'm imagining it must have been pretty frustrating first 45 for Heather Garriock to see so many chances for her Canberra United side go begging. Heather, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us, what are your thoughts on that first 45?
Yeah, look, I think it was a really good defensive effort. We just had to critique things after the first 10 minutes. I just think we got a little bit rattled, and once we set defensively, we've worked on this all week, knowing what Melbourne City would do. But the most important thing for us is actually when we win the ball and go forward, our transition moments need to be better. We need to secure the ball when we do go forward, and that way we can get our strike force in. So the second half is really important for us.
Yeah, absolutely, H. It's Grace here. And what was your message to the girls at halftime? Have you changed anything about your formation or about how you're going to approach this second half?
No, we're pretty happy in terms of defensively. I think we've got them well covered. I think Ellie's getting frustrated when you get Emily coming back into the midfield, holding midfield line. She's frustrated. But yeah, I think the most important thing for us is just being able to get shots on goals. We want to win this game. We're not here just to defend the game. So yeah, I think we need individual brilliance. Melbourne City side's obviously quality, but in saying that, we're here to win the game.
Heather Garriock, you know from your time as a broadcaster how much we appreciate the coaches chatting. Thanks so much. Good luck for the second half.
Thanks, guys.
Heather Garriock giving us a few thoughts. What did you make of what she said to the players?
Interesting point that she made there about some individual brilliance, and that might be what it takes today to break this deadlock from either City or Canberra United. A bit of frustration from both sides, so it might just take that individual spark.
Individual brilliance there from Mijatovic. Unfortunately, the cross was a little bit miscued from Catley, but it was almost on command. I'm interested to see what Meli Mijatovic can do, a Serbian international. He's got a huge amount of experience around the world. Catley crosses in, and it's eventually cleared away.
It's a bit of a reflex clearance as well there by Nicola Orgel, which
well done.
can go awry, but she's done well.
So we start rather where we left off with Melbourne City on the attack, first corner of the half. And Egmont stands ready. Oh, lands at the feet of Stott, headed over, still alive for City. Eventually it is cleared away by Cameron, not too far though. Stott's going to run it down on the far side, and it's Roastbacken that eventually puts it away.
There's a thought there for a short corner, which some will be pleased about, others not so much.
Lewick again. Now it's Carpenter. Lewick charging through the green traffic in front of her. Van Egmond comes back to help. I can tell you we have had a change for City. Riley Dobson is on the pitch. Replacing Kaya Simon, who was, I think, her first game back from injury, as Carpenter charges forward. Mijatovic at the ready. Pops back out for Kinga to retrieve. Barnes through to Lewick. Stott, Carpenter. A patient build-up here for Melbourne City. Rebecca Stott again. Now to the feet of the substitute, Riley Dobson. Lays off for Ellie Carpenter. Still Carpenter, back to Kinga. Kinga winds up at the feet of Van Egmond, still alive for Melbourne City. Lewick to Catley. Catley fancies a chances, and it's headed away by Kurtz. Only to go back to the feet of Dobson, and it goes to Emily Van Egmond, who still can't make it count. What does City have to do?
Well, that's a brilliant save there by Sham Karmas, and a fantastic ball put through by Riley Dobson, and good contact on it by Emily Van Egmond, and Sham's positioning was just spot on there to be able to get herself between that, and she looks like she's having a bit of trouble coming off that save too.
Yeah, she's called for attention. We'll have the medical team running on.
We'll see that one again, and just that shape that Riley was able to put on the ball, and really great run at the front post by Emily Van Egmond. That near post run is really underrated at times, and Emily, well done to get there, but Sham stepped up and looks like she might have saved it, or just caught it on her face or on her nose, and she's struggling a bit there. That one makes the eyes water.
It certainly does. Some attention from Sarah Kelly, the Canberra United physio. Hopefully she'll be okay. Of course, they do have Annalie Grove on the bench ready to help out should she be required. Not sure, yes, Canberra have got her jogging up and down the sideline just in preparation. I think Sham's going to be okay though.
Annalie Grove, a really promising young goalkeeper, and had a hard time overseas with the young Matildas recently, but she's got a really bright future ahead of her. She's a good size for a goalkeeper, and I'm sure she'll be in the W League for many years to come.
One of the young Matildas, as is, of course, Carly Roastbacken. We mentioned she was in the wars last week, a broken nose in their match against Perth. She's the captain now of the young Matildas and been nominated, of course, for the AFC Young Player of the Year award, which is a fantastic outcome for a pretty exciting year for Carly.
It's been a massive 12 months for her. She's just done incredibly well and really matured as a player, and stepped up into the position and the role.
Well, now Camilla off on a run looking for Charlie. The two number 7s come together. Catley, the first one there. I think that confidence might be more of what Garrick was looking for. They just perhaps need a bit more space.
I'd like to see Charlie as well get on the ball a bit more. We haven't seen her get as many touches this game as what she had last week, and she's just been a little bit quiet. I'd like to see her get a few more touches and get a bit more involved.
Karmas now always strong at holding up the ball. Crosses back. That was almost beautifully onto the head of Katie Stengel. Oh, she'll be ruining that she wasn't perhaps 2 or 3 inches taller.
That was a good little move there from Lena Karmas to get that ball across and create an opportunity for Canberra.
Look at this move from Ellie Carpenter. She's run almost the entire length of the field, evading all of the Canberra defence. extraordinary. Gee, she's got some engines.
She sure does, and I think the most impressive thing about the way that Ellie plays is just her repeat efforts. Her exertion to go again and again and repeat those sprints both defensively and attack is really impressive. And another look there at Katie Stengel. Yeah, I'm sure she wishes she was just 2 inches taller to get on the end of that one.
Well, we've got Charlie here on the near side at the bottom of the screen mentioning that 3-4 Van Egmond, who's not quite quick enough to pick up that one as it turned around for her by Mijatovic. What do you think that Canberra need to do to get the ball to her feet?
To the feet of
Simone Charlie.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's exactly right. Simone Charlie's got to show for the ball a little bit more, check into those spaces in between the lines, and probably come looking for the ball a little bit more. And especially on a warm day when players start to get a bit fatigued, it's really essential that you have that proactive movement off the ball. And you just can't afford to hide behind players or get stuck in a straight line.
Oh, beautiful challenge there. Rebecca Stocci, she's been lively today.
Yeah, I really rate Rebecca Stott. I think she's a really quality player, New Zealand international, and has just had such great experience, and she just is such a steady head on the ball, and she doesn't try and do anything too fancy, but a really consistent player.
Oh, and here we have the ball at the feet of Simone Charlie. What beautiful work from Charlie, streaming through, winds up for a trotter, takes a deflection. City defence, but wow, the crowd appreciative of that, looking for Charlie to score again after the 2 she had in week 1. Have a look at this.
That's a fantastic run there by Simone Charlie, and she's just tearing past players, and with the ball at her feet is really impressive to do that and keep in control with it.
Now it's Rashard and Mijatovic going toe-to-toe. Appreciative local support chiming in. Loving the physical contest that this game is providing. Probably love a couple of goals. Albeit as long as they went in the right net, of course. Mijatovic on another run, trying to feed it through to Van Egmond. Rebounds out for Kinger. Barnes. Stott to Carpenter. So no real change to the City formation. A like-for-like substitute with Kaya Simon coming off for Riley Dobson. Now Steph Catley down the left wing. Catley with the cross does find Dobson. Wow, that was pretty close. Very strong header. Good positioning from Riley Dobson. But Sham once again easily up for that.
And great ball over the top there to Steph Catley, and again on Steph's left boot. She always just has fantastic texture and weight on the ball, and good positioning by Sham Karmas to get herself on the end of that header from Riley Dobson. But again, another half chance for Melbourne City.
Well, just beyond Hughes means it turned over once more. Checker to Catley. Van Egmond lets it roll through. Now Stengel. Stengel being force in the W League for years. Loving seeing her in a Canberra shirt. And that time, unfortunately, not able to come off for Canberra. Neat run. Katie Stengel's doing a wealth of work down the middle of the park. Perhaps she might be the option to give Simone Charlie the outlet she needs.
Yeah, and I'd like to see also Katie Stengel get on the ball a bit more. I think she had a quiet game last week, and today she's had more touches, but I'd like to see her be a bit more of a presence there and provide an option to Charlie and to Canberra United going forward.
Well, Stengel is Utah Royals forward, and she's scored some 19-odd goals in the W League, so she knows how to find the net. Always there or thereabouts for a golden boot contention. Now Charlie. Charlie finds a big gap straight through the City defence. Oh, almost getting to the boot of Stengel. Was she threading the needle there, or was that Stengel missing it?
I don't know if that was threading the needle. I think that was Simone Charlie having a shot, and very similar positioning to her goal from last week. She's just got this great ability to drop her shoulder and be able to create space for herself to get a shot away. I do think she meant to have that one on frame, and she just come off the outside of her boot, which has caused it to go wide of the goal.
Well, 10 minutes of this first half gone. Laura Hughes unable to keep it in. 18-year-old midfielder for Canberra.
Yeah, Laura Hughes, she's quite a technical little player and she's really skillful on the ball. She does get stuck in. She's a little bit shorter than a number of the girls in the comp, but she makes up for it in her tenacity, and she really is not afraid to lay a tackle in.
One of the youngsters that Garriock is continuing to bring through. Neat ball from Riley Dobson to City counterpart and Carpenter. Roast back and valiantly holding the ball, unable to keep possession. Still desperately searching for the opening goal. 11 or so minutes gone in this second half. Carpenter, huge ball over the top. It's a little bit beyond Mijatovic. Girardello just holding things up momentarily. We're off again, Charlie. These two number 7s are a good match for each other, aren't they?
They certainly are. We spoke a bit about Charlie probably having her defender beat last week, but she's certainly not having that kind of joy against Steph Catley today.
Van Engron's wayward pass to Carpenter. It's up at the feet of Rostbakken, only to be turned over again, and now Stott comes running through. Carpenter again with the speed down the right. Bit too much as it turns out.
Canberra sitting fairly defensively for this patch of the game, and they're sticking with their 3 at the back, but you could see in that last passage of play there, 3 midfielders were also tracking, so they essentially had 6 behind the ball for that last little bit, which says to me that while Heather does want to look for attacking opportunities, there's still some defensive mindness there about how they're tracking the ball back.
Very encouraging to her players as they came out. She was encouraging them to stay confident, play positively, and the results would come. Charlie through to Camilla. Oh, great combining between those two. Camilla has a shot off the post. Unbelievable follow-up for Stengel. And there is Katie Stengel's first goal in a Canberra shed. The home side have the lead. Canberra United 1, Melbourne City 0. Well, and that's what we have been waiting for. What a beautiful combination. So unlucky for Camilla, but fabulous rebound and a very lucky bounce for Katie Stengel.
That is exactly what we've been waiting there from Canberra United. That was a brilliant shot there by Camilla, and she'll be disappointed not to see that one bury in the back of the net, but fortunate bounce back, and Katie Stengel was in the right position as a striker should be, following that one up and was just able to bury it. Yeah, sure. Camilla will be kicking herself that that one didn't go into the top corner on that first shot, but what a great strike it was.
Indeed. Remind me, didn't the same thing happen to Camilla last week? I've got a feeling that she managed to find the woodwork that as well.
Yeah, there was some woodwork in there. And again, that opportunity has been started from Simone Charlie driving through the middle of the park and creating that opportunity at the end.
Dobson trying to reply, and I was just about to ask you if Heather Garriock should be looking at changing things up. Clearly not. That's a super start. As I mentioned before, the side that scores the first goal has won all of the 7 matchups between these sides, so now we get to see if it holds true.
Well, that's right.
City has never beaten Canberra United at McKellar Park either, but you can't imagine they're not going to leave everything out on the park. Steph Catley to deliver the corner. It's in. Kinga jumps. Everyone leaping. Checker picks up on the near side, hooks it back in. Oh, beautifully cleared by Camilla.
Particularly frustrating for Melbourne City. We've spoken about how they've had majority of the possession here and majority of the chances as well. But often we see this happen in games where the team with less possession will just peg one back and get a little bit of momentum.
Collision between Karmas and Barnes.
Yeah, a bit heavy-handed there by Barnes. I think Lena felt that one, felt a message behind that one, loud and clear.
Oh, she's a tough nut, Lena. She'll
Oh,
be
she
all right.
is. She is.
And she can give as good as
I was
she gets.
about to say the exact same thing. She gives as good as she gets.
So Canberra United, goal to the good as Kurtz gets the play underway once more. Roastbacken on the far side. Looking for Stengel. Tenacious chasing by Carly Roastbacken. For those of you who've just joined us, you might recall she broke her nose last week, but unaffected, back in the lineup today and making a world of difference.
Yeah, she certainly is, and Carly's that type of player who has just such a great engine on her that she'll always look to provide an option for her teammates, both in attack and defensively, and she's doing exactly that today with a broken nose, so full credit to her for that one.
It makes my eyes water just thinking about that.
You and me both, Steph.
Well, you'd imagine that puts a world of confidence into the home side now. Camilla standing over the ball. You can see the angle she's got there. Williams ready. It's a nice delivery onto the head of Simone Charlie. Away by Stott, still alive. If only just. Catley clears it temporarily. Roastbacken in position to collect. Asking a lot of Stengel, but she manages to chase it down. The goal scorer on the far side, looking to beat Ellie Carpenter. Still Stengel. Does get away. Orgel at the ready. Oh, and that one in. Simone Charlie was not able to contact that, but Rebecca Stott always at the ready, and Stott's been covering that area really well and making it quite difficult for Charlie to get any of that access down that part of the field.
Yeah, that's spot on, and Stott's that kind of player. She's really aware of her positioning on the field. She's a very smart player. She knows when to look forward and when to just hold her ground, and that's something that she does really effectively and is doing so today as well. But it was a decent ball in the box there by Katie Stengel, and as I've just mentioned it, she is starting to get on the ball a bit more and looking effective for Canberra.
Still options, of course, for Canberra United should Heather Garriock decide to go to her bench. Seeing Lena Karmas almost come a cropper again. Catley laughing at the challenge, but you can hear that we're in an open air commentary box right in the middle of the stands at McKellar Park, and yes, we're enjoying the passion of the local crowd here.
Some serious outrage by that call.
And Olivia Price and Lauren Hughes in combination find Simone Charlie. Look at that run. It's almost wonderful service for Karmas. Instead it's Kinger for City. Then Egmond. Mijatovic. Van Egmond, then Kinger. Getting coaching advice from the stands as well.
It's the best type of advice there from the stands.
So if we just look at Canberra United's bench, it's Ashley Crofts, Taryn King and Rebecca Horsey. Young bench, not particularly experienced by any means. I imagine that Heather Garriock is going to persevere with the talent she has on the field for as long as possible.
I think she will for the time being, and Taryn King, she's young but has played a fair few W League games and had a great campaign last year with Canberra United, and I imagine she'll come on defensively if she needs to in the back line. But I think just given the work rate of the girls out there on both sides, Canberra will probably look to make a change at some point for some fresh legs.
Catley now for City. Be desperately wanting to pull one back. It's interesting, we said prior to the game, and in fact before we were chatting when we were chatting before kickoff about how you expect a game like this to be an absolute blockbuster because of the personnel in both these lineups, and often it just ends up being a war of attrition, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's right, and it can get a bit scrappy. Quality can sort of drop off, which is surprising, exactly as you say, given the quality of players that we've got out in front of us on the park today. We expect some pretty big things, but it just hasn't quite come off today.
Pass didn't come off for Kinga, headed down by Karmas, but can't control. Now Checker. Mijatovic back to Kinga. Oh, that's beautifully fed through for Mijatovic. Can she finish? It is a first goal for Melbourne City for the Serbian. Wow, City celebrate muted in the stands here. That's quietened them down, but it is level now, 1-1 here between Canberra and Melbourne City. Goal to Millie Mijatovic.
That's a great finish by Mijatovic there, and full credit to her for a very technical finish, ability to take a touch around Lydia Williams and create a bit of space for herself. It's very easy to just try and shoot on that first one there, but she's had the composure and the mind to just have a little look up. You see she'll glance up, and just with the outside of her right foot is able to clear it around Shem Karmas, and it's a really, really quality finish.
It certainly is. Karmas looks disappointed that just evaded her hand. She's been so outstanding today. She'll be frustrated by the way that one occurred, but all credit to Mijatovic, off and running in the W League.
Yeah, really pleasing for Mijatovic to get her first W League goal, and she's been really effective today, so to give her a bit of confidence and to put one in the net is a really good thing for her.
Good chance for a second here. Steph Catley tries to cut it back for Van Egmond. Actually cleared to safety. Of course, Mijatovic has scored all around the world. She's a Serbian international, but has played in Bosnia-Herzegovina, Kazakhstan, France, Sweden, Norway. Bit of global experience there.
It's an impressive resume.
Van Egmond hoping for support. Ends up in a Canberra throw. Emma Checker chasing down as cover for Lydia Williams. Bounce misses everybody. Mijatovic. Quick boot which hands it back to Canberra United. Lena Karmas unable to find Charlie. Ball square once more, and you can see the intensity in their faces. Stengel traps.
Just getting the sense now as well that Melbourne City are settling into this second half a bit, looking to connect a few passes and probably taking a little bit of control back, whereas Canberra United started off really strong in this second half.
Yeah, great run from Rebecca Stott. Comes to naught. So I think we're going to see another change on the City bench. Chelsea Blissett is being prepared. It'll be her 8th appearance in a City shirt as she prepares to come on. Who do you think might make way? We'll see Lauren Barnes come off. Lena Karmas trots off, accidentally off the back of Steph Catley. It's no avail. It's now with Simone Charlie. And Charlie looking for action. What? Oh, that looks so much like that was in for Simone Charlie off the inside of the crossbar. I thought that was in for sure. So did she.
I think we all did, Steph, and I can't tell you how similar that move and that shot was to her goal last week. Drop of the shoulder to create herself a bit of space and to be able to step in and strike that. It's really unfortunate for Simone Charlie that that's bounced out of the goal, having hit the inside of the post. But fantastic shot and really good opportunity for Canberra United. I think Simone Charlie is just coming into the game now, which is a really important point in the game for Canberra United to have that attacking option.
Well, that change has been effected in the meantime. We see Chelsea Blissett come on. It's actually the goal scorer, Millie Mijatovic, that makes way. Congratulations on your first goal in the W League. Meaning the scores are all level here. 25 minutes gone in the first half.
I think Lou Barnes down there getting a bit of attention after a knock, and both sides taking the opportunity for a welcome drinks break.
Nice refresher, chance for the coaches to have a couple of quick words. Now there was a bit of an interesting stat on a win for Canberra. It creates quite a run here at McKellar Park, Grace.
It will do, and I'm hearing that if Canberra United...
You're showing your colours.
Apologies. If Canberra United avoid defeat today, it's going to be 8 unbeaten at McKellar Park since losing to Jets at the end of the 17-18 season. So it's a pretty impressive record at a home ground for Canberra United. And
it is. And given they play at other grounds around Canberra for some of their non-televised matches, it shows what a fortress this place could be if they could play here every week.
That's exactly right, and from all accounts it's really difficult to come here, and I think just the size of the ground, the atmosphere, you've been able to hear the crowd throughout the game. It's a really difficult field for travelling teams to come and to get a result at.
Stengel back to Orgel. Bit of movement on the Canberra bench as well. A couple of words to the youngsters. Maybe we will get to see them get a few minutes towards the end of this match, but now Rebecca Stott for City. Dobson. Van Egmond charges forward once more, looking for friends in sky blue shirts. Carpenter, all over the top. Charlie lets it run harmlessly over the line. Both Barnes and Palmas. Lena looking for help from Girardello. Wasn't forthcoming. Now Lewick. And Kinga. Carrie Kinga squares up. Kinga still alive for Kinga. Feeds it through for Dobson. Catley is there. Catley retrieves. Plenty of City shirts at the ready. Now Van Egmond. Emily Van Egmond. Ooh, it's gone a bit wayward. I'm not quite sure that's where she meant it to go.
I don't think it was quite the intended outcome, but certainly we've seen Emily Van Egmond take a shot from that space and bury one from that distance.
Well, I believe we're going to have a double change here for Canberra. The youngsters that we spoke about, Rebecca Horsey. Rebecca Horsey's a 27-year-old midfielder, so not exactly a youngster, but inexperienced in W League terms. This is her debut here at Canberra United. And Ashley Crofts. So Crofts is a 21-year-old. Her second appearance, she did get on last week, and she's a talent of the future. I've heard amazing things about what to expect from her in years to come.
And what it tells me as well about Heather Garriock is that she's putting a double set of fresh legs on the field and really looking to chase this. She won't want to settle with a draw on just 1 point. She'll want to get the result here today.
So Lena Karma's taking a well-earned break. She's put in an incredible shift.
I think we'll see that kind of contribution throughout the season from Lena Karma. She's sort of your 60, 70-minute player, and she'll just give absolutely everything she has, and then she'll happily put her hand up and say, all right, I need a rest. And she's done that today, similar to what she did last week, and a good innings again by Lena Karmas today.
You'll see the switch up here. Simone Charlie now on the left flank, steaming forward. Looking at the back for Ashley Croft. Wouldn't that have been an incredible first minute on the park? And that's what Garriock's after, that confidence.
it would have been an incredible first minute, but also an incredible first touch. And that's a really, really quality ball in from Simone Charlie. It's the type of ball that just evades the goalkeeper, and you can see Lydia Williams hesitates on a decision there, which tells you it's a perfect kind of ball, and Croft will be disappointed not to get a head over it.
Oh, that's another good ball right to the feet of Steph Catley. Long way down the park. Canberra defence streaming back. Well done, Jessie Rashard. Now Barnes. Plenty of encouraging shouts from down this end. Emily Van Egmond. Van Egmond again, former Newcastle Jet. Again, Canberra defence standing solid. Oh, hooked in by Barnes. Plenty of heads there. Karmas gratefully grasps it in. Kinger and both Dobson in position. Now it's Rebecca Stott charging forward. Carpenter. Easy claim for Karmas.
Again, Canberra United here are having to absorb a lot of pressure and some really good attacking opportunities, both on the left and the right side, and putting a fair bit of pressure on Canberra's defensive unit at the moment.
A lot of possession for Melbourne City at the moment. Dobson now. Showing quick feet. Feeds it through for Van Egmond. Running away from Simone Charlie. Checker. Carpenter. Dobson traps, just gets away from her. Or does it? Back to Carpenter. Looking for the head of Kinger. Frustration for Yukari Kinger. Now cleared for City, only back as far as Barnes. Now Barnes looking forward, hoping for options inside the area. More of a hit and hope there.
But Lou Barnes, a really quality player for Melbourne City, and just, again, another very consistent, sound player. Doesn't look to do anything too fancy, but a really consistent performer for Melbourne City, and has been for a number of years now.
Rebecca Horsey. There's a big hold from behind. Barnes holding Charlie, no whistle. She got her foot trodden on at the same time. Now it's Stengel. Back for Camilla. Camilla winds up. That one well over the bar. It was a good thought. It's not quite accurate enough. It seems that Lauren Barnes in that little contest with Charlie has had her foot trodden on rather heavily.
Yeah, it certainly looks like Lauren Barnes has come off second best with that one. They're back on the strike from Camilla. I don't blame her for having an opportunity there. We saw the one just minutes earlier, what she was able to create. And she'll be disappointed with herself for not getting that shot down on frame. But you can see she likes to shoot from range, and she most certainly can. She's proved that she's got the ability to do so.
Yeah, nice creative addition for Heather Garriock side.
Yeah, she is. She creates a bit of a spark, and we spoke about it at halftime as well, in the way that when she's on the ball, it looks like something's going to happen, and we're not always sure what, but it's a really great addition to the Canberra United side for a bit of energy, and you can see she puts absolutely everything and leaves it on the field.
Solid defending from Canberra once again. Nick Orgel been very busy today, the co-captain of Canberra United. Van Egmond over the top, hoping Catley would be in position. Again, Canberra paying close attention as the offside flag goes up. This is where they can't afford to be caught ball watching, because that's what Melbourne City will take full advantage of with just 10 or so minutes remaining in this match.
We've seen a couple of times now Melbourne City use the space out wide really well, but they're trying to go centrally with that ball in the air, and they're not having much joy or much luck with it. They probably need to mix things up and look to try and hit feet and play people in on the ground, because, as we say, the ball out wide is not been particularly successful for them.
Canberra will be on the road next week. They head up to Newcastle. It'll be interesting to see what they make of that clash after Newcastle was so successful, if you like, at holding Melbourne City at bay. City, for their part, stay at home, and they'll welcome Adelaide United. And a host of other exciting youngsters there, no least Mary Fowler, who everyone's keeping a very close eye on this season as a Lady Red.
She has had a good start to the season as well with the games with Adelaide. She's looking very, very dangerous and very promising, and Adelaide just losing that one to Sydney 1-0 in round 2 of the W League.
Oh, nice work from Rashard. She's done well against Catley, actually. Now Kinga. Van Egmond has options. Span out for Dobson. Chasing down on the far side. Getting very close attention from Carly Rochebacken. There's no fear in that girl, is there?
Not one bit. What I do like about Ghirardello, our referee today, though, is that she has tried to let things play at every opportunity and play advantage, and then call it back up for a free kick if advantage is not found.
We have a free kick, plenty of sky blue shirts ready and waiting. Didn't find any of them, but does come back out for Van Egmond for another go. Again, Kaylee Kurtz. Headed away beautifully, and whistle goes against Catley.
Kaylee Kurtz has been really solid in there at the back for Canberra today. I think you mentioned it, Steph, she's really competent on both her left and her right foot, and we've seen a couple of really decent diagonal balls, like a nice long diagonal ball over the field, which is really effective. I think she's been a great recruit for Canberra United this year.
We could do worse than recruit from the champions in the NWSL, couldn't you? Quite a number of them over here today. In fact, Melbourne City almost had Lynn Williams, who went to the Wanderers. And, wow, wouldn't she have been a good pickup for them? As it is, the red and black are enjoying having her on their side. 100% huge contender for Golden Boot right there.
Oh, she's an incredible player, Lynn Williams, and so effective with the North Carolina Courage, and we've seen her had such great success, and she's just so quick. She makes fast people look kind of slow, so it's a bit of a concern for opposition, but she's been a great recruit for Western Sydney this year, alongside with Kristen Hamilton.
Absolutely. Teammate Denise O'Sullivan with them as well, but we've got plenty of stars on the park here in Canberra. It was an effective intercept from Yukari Kinga, which started off that particular passage of play. It's all come undone, and now another chance for Canberra as they charge towards their goal, and we have Rebecca Stott in the way. How many times have we said that today? Excellent performance from the New Zealand international. Carpenter's throw. Turns it over, Camilla. This is where Canberra really need to hold their nerve, don't they? Nice work, Jessie Rashard. Kinga can't keep control. Price. Oh, neat back heel from Camilla. Unfortunately, she can't maintain possession. Now Van Egmond puts it well in front of Dobson, who we know is pretty fleet-footed and up to the challenge. Now Dobson looking for options. Trying to weave through the defence. Very soft turnover. Stingle and Checker. You
have just mentioned it, Steph, but really important at this point in the game that both sides are really mindful with possession and look to play smart football. It's easy to lose your cool and concentration at this point in the game when there's a bit of fatigue.
Steph Catley's hand definitely made contact with the ball. No whistle though, and Katie Stengel is away at the other end. Stengel, one-on-one. Barnes gets help. Beg your pardon, that was Ashley Crofts. I should have given the right person the credit there. Nice work from the 21-year-old. Must be my eyesight going. Oh, card there for Kaylee Kurtz. Girardello's hurt enough. Check her number to see she had the right player. We've all been there.
Yeah, I think we have.
So under 5 minutes remaining here at McKellar Park. It's one apiece thanks to goal for Canberra from Katie Stengel and Millie Mijatovic on target for Melbourne City. Will someone be able to break the deadlock, or are we destined to share the points?
So it looks like they've pushed Steph Catley up the field further and further as this half has gone on to provide an attacking option.
That ball just about landed inside our commentary area.
I almost got player of the day for that one.
You did. Handball. So Barnes to settle things. For City, Checker. Stott. And we have the familiar build up from the back. Checker calling her teammates forward. Really creating spaces for them to feed that ball forward. Van Egmond, Carpenter. Dobson. And nicely brought undone. And that's where Canberra have been so good. They've been tenacious and not panicked. And they see the players running at them with that build-up.
It has been a really good defensive effort by Canberra today, and a couple of last-ditch efforts in tackles and like you say, just remaining calm when they've needed to and absorbing a lot of pressure.
Lewick momentarily snatching possession from Charlie, who then turns it over herself. Stott, Lewick. Dobson. Starting to get a little bit weary, and we're returning to the sort of scrappy phase that we saw at the end of the first half. It'll be interesting to hear what the players have to say after the match. Katie Stengel on the ball now. Camilla. Couple of minutes for an opportunity for either side to take the spoils. Of course, this result would help with the table. Stengel there still gets a boot on it. Katie Stengel, plenty of attention from the Melbourne City defence. Stengel looking for a path through, gets it through the legs of Stott. And good recovery by Rebecca Stott. Saves the day for the moment. Now Camilla has come close a couple of times already today. Wouldn't she love to make one count for the final whistle? Now it's Ellie Carpenter flying down, blue shirts streaming forward. Dobson. Van Egmond. It looked like it was potentially a handball there. A few cries from the crowd here. Now Kinger. Brissett just managing to keep it in. It does get turned over now. Groves pushes it forward. This is Stengel. Ice charging forward now. A chance here for Canberra. And it is Groves in possession, and once again a wonderful chance. And that is the second time perhaps we've seen Ashley Crofts have a shot that could have meant a wonderful start to her season here at home ground. Take a look again. Perhaps angle wasn't quite on over the top for Ashley Crofts. I'm sure we're going to see many goals from her in the future. Russia been very, very busy. In the right back position for Canberra. She watches her team stream forward once more. So Rebecca Stott's been the bane of their life today, though. Stott again. Van Egmond ticked over the 90-minute mark, but there is 4 minutes of time added on. Plenty of time for either of these sides to break the deadlock. King are trotting over to put a little bit of pressure on Sham Karmas, who's had an outstanding effort between the sticks. Beaten once by Mijatovic. Certainly saved Canberra's blushes on many occasions. Will she need to do so again here? Carpenter. Dobson. Back to Carpenter. Wasn't quite ready for it. Now Camilla. Important here that Canberra managed to keep possession. Well, who else but Rebecca Stott to stop that particular foray into the attacking half. Van Egmond. Barnes retreats. Van Egmond again. Both coaches on the edge of their technical areas. Carpenter. Catley back to Carpenter, back to Catley. Chance here for King. Oh! Pulled down, and that will be a penalty. Oh, this is disastrous for the home side. Melbourne City, what an opportunity for them to be able to take all 3 points and get a first win on the board here. And players remonstrating with Girardello. Certainly let a lot slide today. Let's have another look. You see the contest conjections, and she's been pulled over. Penalty awarded. Shane Karmas thought she'd saved that particular challenge, and now it's going to be Emily Van Egmond. She scored last week. Can she make it 2 in City Blue? Oh, Van Egmond converts. Sham Karmas almost managed to save it. A second goal for Emily Van Egmond surely means the points are headed back with Melbourne City. So close to the end of the match. It's now Canberra United 1, Melbourne City 2. Oh, pretty assured penalty from Van Egmond, but Karmas chose the right way and is devastated. She didn't manage to push that one away. Palmed into the side netting, and that is disappointing for the goalkeeper, who has had such an outstanding shift today. And Canberra just bare minutes, perhaps even seconds remaining for them to try and balance the ledger now. And Charlie, some neat footwork, and no, Girardello says time is up. And wow, what an extraordinary way for the game to finish. All level up until the final minute. Penalty awarded to Melbourne City. And that means that it finished here at McKellar Park. Canberra United 1, Melbourne City 2. Well, let's take a look at the goals. It's all opened with a wonderful effort from Katie Stengel. And Stengel, of course, scored so many for Newcastle Jets. New in Canberra colours, and what a brilliant addition she's been to the front line here in the capital. Pushed forward by Charlie. Camilla's there. Now have a look at this shot from Camilla. It ricochets off the woodwork, and a neat follow-up for Katie Stengel, and that gives her her first goal in green. Don't think Lydia Williams could quite believe the luck of that bounce for the other side. Now, of course, in reply, it was only some 6 minutes later that Mili Mijatovic had a very, very tidy finish. Yeah, wonderful work there to level the scores up from the Serbian international, and then it all came down to this last one. Penalty converted for Emily van Egmond, mean that Melbourne City have their first win of the season. What a fantastic finish for the City Blue, and they'll be very happy to get that first win on the board, giving them 4 points and pushing them up above Canberra United. Hope you enjoyed the coverage today. Make sure you join us next week when we head to Perth to see the Glory host defending champions Sydney FC. See you then.